Welcome to the SUNY Child Protection Policies training. This is Module 7, Required Conduct of a Covered Person under the Child Protection Policy. Required conduct by covered persons is listed in Section E of the Child Protection Policy. Covered persons are required by the policy to take 4 reasonable measures to prevent physical and sexual abuse of children. These reasonable measures are 1. Get trained, 2. Wear identification, 3. Remove the child from abuse, and 4. Report suspected abuse. The first, training. Covered persons must complete all required training on the Child Protection Policy, which includes these training modules and the local campus training. 2. Wear identification. The covered person must at all times during the covered activity wear and display prominently a lanyard or other form of identification that identifies that particular person as a covered person in the specific program or activity. We've already discussed that the campus is responsible for providing the appropriate identification, and now the covered person is responsible for wearing the identification provided. The identification must include at the very least who, what, where, and when, and include a picture. For active sports, an arm or wristband may be appropriate so long as it contains the requisite information and is readily visible. So again, appropriate identification has a picture, dates, names, the role of the covered person, and it should be visible. Inappropriate identification has no pictures, no dates, and is easily duplicated. 3. Remove the child from the abuse. This is clear. Children should be immediately removed from the potential or actual physical or sexual abuse and from any conduct prohibited by the policy. And 4, covered persons should report any suspected abuse. They must report suspected physical and sexual abuse of a child to the University Police Department in accordance with the local procedures. Prohibited conduct by a covered person under the Child Protection Policy. Covered persons are prohibited from engaging in certain conduct. The prohibited conduct is listed in Section D of the Child Protection Policy. Generally speaking, covered persons are prohibited from engaging in specific actions in order to prevent physical or sexual abuse of children, which will be detailed in the following slides. First, there must be no one-on-one interaction between a covered person and a child, except in very limited circumstances. A covered person cannot be alone with the child unless the covered person is the child's relative or guardian, or unless the one-on-one contact has been specifically approved in the local procedures as an exception to the prohibition, such as for pedagogical or health-related purposes. Next, covered persons must never be alone with a child in any of these locations unless they are the child's relative or guardian. Restrooms, locker rooms, showers, sleeping areas, and vehicles. Even if the campus has created certain exceptions to the one-on-one prohibition, those exceptions will never apply to these locations. Third, a covered person cannot engage in physical or sexual abuse of a child. Fourth, a covered person cannot engage in the use of alcohol or illegal drugs or be under the influence of alcohol or illegal drugs during covered activities. 5, a covered person cannot enable, facilitate, or fail to address a child's use of alcohol or illegal non-prescribed drugs. Since failure to address is prohibited, that means a covered person must report such use. 6, a covered person cannot contact a child through electronic media, including social media, for the purposes of engaging in any prohibited conduct, including sexual conduct. 7, a covered person cannot offer or make a gift to a child for the purpose of engaging in any prohibited conduct, including sexual conduct. 8, a covered person cannot release a child from a covered activity without a written authorization from the child's parent or guardian. This concludes Module 7.